It seems that the allegations of covering up abusive priests dogs almost every cardinal in the United States today. In the past couple of months, there have been a steady drip, drip, drip of stories about USCCB President Cardinal Daniel DiNardo of Galveston. On paper, his being president of the otherwise worthless U.S. Conference of Catholic Bishops makes him one of the most powerful clerics in the United States. On paper. We know that at present the most powerful appear to be Tobin, Worrell, and Blazing Supich. But as president of the USCCB, the political arm of the Bishops' Conference, DiNardo certainly has great influence. This is why the story of his allegedly covering up the abuse of minors by multiple priests should be surprising, but really isn't. If Cardinal DiNardo really is that influential, then his name certainly does belong on the list of the likes of McCarrick, Worrell, Supich, and Tobin, if he truly is an enabler of abuse. Let's have a closer look. DiNardo's problems began this past summer, when Father Manuel La Rosa Lopez, a priest whom DiNardo had himself promoted, was arrested for allegedly molesting 2 children. DiNardo has promised to release a list of all priests in the Houston area who have been credibly accused, a term that I'm sick and tired of abusing a child. DiNardo has promised to do this by January. The clock is ticking, but things have gotten worse, destroying the appearance of his being proactive in handling the case. In a recent report, CBS accused DiNardo of a severe lack of action in addressing past allegations, specifically in the case of John Labont, who said Father John Keller molested him when he was 16 years old. Labont accused DiNardo of allowing Keller to continue presiding over one of the largest Catholic churches in Houston. I'm sure you're well aware that the largest parishes in major cities are the choicest of assignments for any Catholic priest, often being the pinnacle of their careers. Labont describes being left frozen in his encounter with the priest, not being able to move out of fear, and when you hear the description, you'll see why. He has since said it was his duty as a faithful Catholic to speak out. In 2002, he brought allegations to the Archdiocese. Recall that 2002 was when the sex abuse crisis exploded in the media, started by reporting in Boston. Labont describes being plied with alcohol by Keller and being fondled on an overnight trip. Astonishingly, Keller received a confirmation email from the Archdiocesan offices, where the priest admitted to, and I quote, holding Labont in a manner inappropriate for a priest, but denied any sexual intent. Ultimately, the Archdiocese could not conclude that what happened constituted sexual abuse, but promised to put the priest into therapy. They were probably too busy putting traditionalist priests into therapy like they tried with Father Kalchik in Chicago, because, as it turns out, the Archdiocese kept him in active ministry. But it gets better. DiNardo has a second allegation of cover-up leveled against him. Also from CBS, a victim testified in a sworn affidavit that Father Terence Brinkman of wearing his priest collar as he sodomized the child when he was 12 in the 1970s. Archdiocesan attorneys argued that the statute of limitations had passed, causing the case to be dismissed by the courts. And like with Keller, Brinkman is still in active ministry in the diocese. In the spirit of charity and fairness, the diocese gave this statement to CBS. First, from Father Brinkman. I cannot tell you that these events did not take place, but I was not the person who did them to him. The Archdiocese said the victim provided a physical description that does not match Father Brinkman. I present those to you in the interest of fairness and transparency. I'm not a believer in allegations being believed at all, just because they've been leveled against someone who might be credible in these days, Catholic priests, unfortunately. That story was from late November. Some of you may remember it. I present it merely to set up this story, which happened last week. Group calls on Cardinal Daniel DiNardo. Come clean 100%. Pittsburgh. A day after a state Supreme Court ruling that the names of 11 accused Roman Catholic clergy should not be made public, a group is calling on Cardinal Daniel DiNardo to be more transparent. The state grand jury report released earlier this year names more than 300 priests statewide accused of abusing children, but 11 names have been redacted. The state Supreme Court said in the ruling on Monday that revealing those names would violate the state constitutional right of the 11 clergy to have their reputation protected. State Attorney General Josh Shapiro was angered by the court's decision. It really just allows predator priests to remain in the shadows, and it permits the church to continue to conceal their identities, said Shapiro. I think I'm going to continue to stand with survivors to ensure that every single victim get their day in court, and every single predator priest and church official who enabled that abuse is ultimately held to account. Keep in mind, Shapiro has a very deep-seated anti-Catholic bias, and I'll go over that here in a minute. Shapiro says that although he cannot release the names, the state bishops should. And now representatives with another group, Road to Recovery Incorporated, is calling on Cardinal Daniel DiNardo to reveal what he knows about allegations of sexual abuse of children, teenagers, and vulnerable adults by clergy. Cardinal DiNardo is the current Archbishop of Galveston, Houston, but previously served many roles in the Diocese of Pittsburgh. Members of Road to Recovery, Inc., clergy sexual abuse survivors Dr. Robert Hoetzen and James, I'm not going to try to pronounce that one, held a news conference Tuesday outside the Pittsburgh Catholic Diocese headquarters downtown. We are here today to call on Cardinal Daniel DiNardo to come clean 100%, said Hoetzen. When he knelt down in 2007 before Pope Benedict and was named a cardinal of the Catholic Church, he made a promise to Pope Benedict, as all cardinals do. He pledged to Pope Benedict that he would keep secret anything that would cause scandal or embarrassment to his church. We are here today to ask Cardinal DiNardo to break that pledge and to ask Pope Francis not to enforce that pledge on any of his bishops or priests. That is an interesting accusation. If any of you have any knowledge about the oaths sworn by cardinals to the Pope, let me know in the comments below if there's any truth to that, because that doesn't sound true. They are asking something else of Cardinal DiNardo as well. Come clean about whatever you know about any priest or deacon in this diocese that has committed any kind of clergy sexual abuse. We also want Cardinal DiNardo to come clean about the policy of shredding files or getting rid of files, Hoetzen said. The release of the report resulted in the resignation of Cardinal Donald Wuerl in October, and the removal of his name from North Carolina High School. There have also been calls for the resignation of current Pittsburgh Catholic Diocese Bishop David Zubik, but he has pushed back, saying the church has made drastic improvements over the past 30 years. Let me know what you think of this story. On the one hand, redacted names may have been connected to non-credible allegations, and if that's the case, then those priests' names may be protected. False allegations should not be given the power to destroy the life of an accused person, as we saw with the Brett Kavanaugh case. On the other hand, though, if the allegations against them are credible, why were they redacted? And then there's the issue with Shapiro himself, who has a history of anti-Catholic action. Before he rightly took on the abuse of minors at the hands of priests and the subsequent cover-up in Pennsylvania, Josh Shapiro was one of the lead attorneys in the Little Sisters of the Poor case, where the Obama administration had tried to force nuns to provide contraceptives to employees under the disastrous Obamacare legislation. And about half of Catholics voted for Obama, even though that was going on. Attacking the church is nothing new for Shapiro, and any action he takes against abuse should be understood in those terms. If you like videos like this, like and share this video and subscribe, and click that notification bell below. You can support my work if you want to through Subscribestar, and like a lot of YouTubers, I'm in the process of migrating there. A link is found in the description below, along with links to my Twitter, the Sources blog, and the Return to Tradition Facebook page. Thanks for listening. I'm Anthony Stein. Viva Cristo Rey.